Hello, welcome to today's lesson on probability of compound events. We're also going to take a look at sample space today. So, to start off, the sample space of an experiment is a set of all possible outcomes. So remember, it's really important before you calculate any probability to make sure that you know all the possible outcomes, because that gives you the total number of outcomes, which becomes the denominator of your probability fraction. So let's take a look at a couple experiments here. Identify the sample space in each experiment. So if we flip a coin, okay, so if you flip a coin, there are two ways that it could land. It can land on heads or tails. So your two sample spaces are heads or tails. Those are your only two possible outcomes. Okay, a number cube is rolled. So let's say this is a normal number cube or die. It has the numbers 1 through 6 on it. So when you roll this number cube, you could get a 1, you could get a 2, you could get a 3, you could get a 4, you could get a 5, or you could get a 6. So those are all your possible outcomes. All right, let's take a look at number 3. Two coins are tossed. So this time we're taking a look at not just one coin being tossed, but two. So think about the ways that those coins could land. So I could get heads on the first coin and heads on the second coin. I could get tails on the first coin or tails on the second coin. I could get heads on the first coin and tails on the second coin. Or I could get tails on the first coin and heads on the second coin. So that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 possible outcomes. And these possible outcomes make up my sample space. All right, let's also do a little introduction to compound events. So when two or more events occur together, we call this a compound event. So it's no longer just a single event. This would be a compound event. Now we're going to take a look at both independent compound events and dependent compound events, and we're going to start with independent today. So some compound events are composed of independent events. Now think about what that word independent means. Independent means you can stand alone. You're not affected by anything or anyone. Okay, so independent events are two events in which the occurrence of the first event does not affect the probability of the second event. Okay, so that first event has no effect on the probability of the second event. So for example, if I was flipping a coin and spinning a spinner, what I flip on that coin first has no influence on what I'm going to spin on the spinner. So those would be independent events. Okay, so to find the probability of an independent compound event, we're going to multiply the probabilities together. So if you have two events and where you're looking for both of them to occur, you're going to find the probability of the first event, or event A. So this is the first event. And then you're going to find the probability of the second event. We'll call that event B. And you're just going to multiply them together. So multiply the probability of the first event times the probability of the second event, and that's going to give you the probability of those two events occurring together.